Mike Sando of The Athletic does this every single year. He polls key NFL figures and has them rank NFL quarterbacks by tier. It's a very interesting post. It gives you a feel for who's who based off of the opinions of people around the league. Where does CJ Stroud rank? We'll get to that in a moment. The 2025 quarterback tier. Tier number 1. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, in the eyes of those around the league, are tied as the best quarterback in the game. That's interesting. More so that Mahomes is still number 1. That's not to say that Mahomes isn't number 1. It's more surprising that last year, and perhaps last year's Super Bowl, didn't have Mahomes go temporarily below either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. But I think everyone's a little bit afraid of disrespecting Patrick Mahomes too early, having learned lessons the hard way when it came to Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think there's that at play where there's like a slow. I mean, just because he didn't win 3 straight Super Bowls, now it's there's a little bit more room for criticism, light criticism. He's still tied for being the best quarterback in the league. But I am surprised who he's tied with is Joe Burrow and not the guy who won MVP last year.
But here's the thing. If the Bengals had made the playoffs, Burrow should have won MVP. I feel very strongly about that. I think Burrow had a more impressive season than Allen and Jackson, which is saying something because they both had awesome seasons.
Yeah.
But take a look at Burrow's numbers. They were awesome. They were the best numbers for any passing quarterback in the league. Allen, Jackson, they do more than that.
Allen Jackson.
These rankings continue. Josh Allen ranked 3rd. Lamar Jackson ranked 4th. It is interesting to see how those two rank compared to one another. The last 2 MVPs of the league. Allen, the defending MVP. Jackson, the MVP the year before. Some believe Allen got the MVP because there was Jackson fatigue over winning the MVP.
Yeah, and Jackson was first team
Correct.
all quarterback, all
First
pro
team
quarterback.
All-pro, yes.
And Allen won MVP. So that's a little weird.
It's very strange.
I think it's fair to put them in this order right next to each other.
I agree. I think they should be tied for 2nd. 5th, also part of the first tier. These are the top 5. Matt Stafford.
My first big disagreement.
By the way, Matt Stafford's status for week 1, which we told you is up in the air, probably more up in the air as of the last 24 hours. We'll talk more in detail about Matt Stafford tomorrow because I have a couple of stories I've been going through. And I'm really curious as to what the hell's going on up there. And I don't think LA's got the beat that's going to be digging and figuring out what the hell's going on here.
To me, the biggest issue with this is what you're just talking about. Like, I'm not sure how healthy this guy is, which I guess they did some of this information before, some of the gathering before this came out. I just don't understand how he's in tier 1 with the 4 guys you mentioned. I think the 4 guys at the top, you can talk me into any of them being number 1. If you want to say Lamar's number 1, that's the one that I'm most like, not, you have to do a really good job of convincing me. And it's ultimately like the guy just needs to get it done in January. All these other guys, like I'm cool if you want to say Allen, Mahomes, Burrow are the top quarterback in the league. I think Jackson's right there with them. And I think there's a precipitous drop from 4 to 5.
I agree with you there. Stafford is definitely behind him. But Stafford, I mean, they almost beat the Eagles.
He's
almost
really
beat the Eagles.
He is really good.
And he had them. If he had not gotten sacked on that 3rd down and it's setting up a 4th and long situation, I really wonder what would have happened. I think they might have beat the Eagles.
I don't have a problem with him being 5th.
That's fair.
I have a problem with him being in the
tier
same
1.
tier.
That makes sense to me. So that's tier 1, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, Stafford in that order, though Mahomes and Burrow are technically tied for 1st. Tier 2, this is where it gets interesting. Jaden Daniels is 6. That's too high. I like Daniels.
Yeah.
That's too high.
It's a little Stroud from last year.
Justin Herbert is 7. We're still doing this?
That's crazy. The number 8 is also a little too high.
Jared Goff. I agree. And then tied for 9th, CJ Stroud and Jalen Hurts. A lot to go with.
That's so much to talk about.
Hurts, first off. Are you kidding me?
Hurts should be 6th.
Hurts should be 6th. What are we doing?
You could talk me into him being 5th over Stafford, but him being behind those 3 guys, honestly, him being tied with Stroud is also a little crazy.
When the Eagles take the top off of Jalen Hurts, and that is a thing that they do. Jalen Hurts is like the weekend car that rich people have, where there's tarp on it and it's in the garage, and then they take it out on the weekend, and they probably don't even drive it that fast. They kind of baby it.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to play with this thing all the way, you can. And it's interesting. Hurts in the regular season, you can almost tell, like, I know this is a marathon. I'm not gonna plow people over. It's annoying, but you know that in the playoffs, he can turn it on. And tied for ninth? Are you serious? Behind Goff? Get out of here.
Behind Goff, behind Herbert.
The Herbert thing, too. Listen, Herbert has amazing splash plays from time to time. Great. Cool. Neat. The internet, the amount of ass kissing that they give to Justin Herbert makes me root against him.
Yeah.
Not even kidding.
He's like,
he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. He seems like he does everything right. It's just
media
the
just kisses
around him. It's a little bit of like if you don't like Shadur Sanders, that's probably why. He's like 5 spots too high.
Yeah. I can see why Goff is ahead of Stroud. I don't agree with it because I just cannot get out of my head how bad Goff was in that Super Bowl against the Patriots all those years ago and how bad Goff was in Sunday Night Football against the Texans. To me, that's like 1 week to the next. I know that there's 7 years of separation between those two moments. To me, like that is what Goff will always be.
Yeah.
Goff certainly has done the most he possibly can in Detroit. But to me, Goff has these moments where he shrinks in big moments. I will say that did not happen in that San Francisco 49ers versus Lions game, but there are times where I look at Goff and I'm like, what is going on here? Stroud should be, I think, ahead of Herbert and Daniels, but I would also hear an argument for him being tied with Daniels, given that Daniels made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, but that's why he is that high up. The rest of this tier, Baker Mayfield is who Stroud and Hurts are ahead of. Yes, that makes sense to me. Yeah. Then it's Dak Prescott at 12. Prescott didn't play much last year, but the year before that, his best statistical season. 13 is Jordan Love, and 14, Brock Purdy, before we get into the next tier, tier 3. Kyler Murray at the top. I agree with that. Murray, when he's at his best, is awesome, but he also has some brutal moments.
Not consistent enough.
Rodgers, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. Geno Smith. Geno Smith is ahead of Trevor Lawrence and Tua. And I think Aaron Rodgers at this phase in his career.
Yeah.
Bo Nix tied for 20th with Sam Darnold. Darnold should be 400th. He sucks. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins, rounding out the third tier. Then after that, who cares? So that's the tiers. Here's what they wrote about CJ Stroud. Stroud remains solidly within tier 2 despite suffering the 5th largest year-over-year fall in average vote. He got rattled because of his offensive line, and you saw that in his play. I agree with that. One defensive coordinator said, when I watched them, I felt like he felt the rush. Yeah, because it was coming right up the middle because they couldn't pick up stunts. Because of that, I still think the talent is in there. I agree. Stroud got 1 tier 1 vote down from 12 last year. Everyone wants to downgrade CJ, said another defensive coordinator. His number 1 receiver was out. Yeah, that was true. He missed Nico Collins for a lot of the year. He was without Stephon Diggs for half the year. He was out without Tank Dell
at the
very end of the year. Right. The line did not play great. The line was the worst. That's an understatement. The running game wasn't there like it should have been. Mixon was there, that's for sure. He saw Stroud as a low tier 2 voter. Another person wrote in this Mike Sando quarterback tier article. I read an article. They said it's time for him to take the next step. What is the next step? It's time for his team to take the next step. He's pretty damn productive. The anonymous quotes about Stroud are very favorable to this point. 2 voters compared Stroud to Jordan Love. They were doing that last offseason, so I doubt that they watched much Stroud this season. Very similar to Love in that some of the disguises will hold the ball quite a bit, take some sacks, throw it into coverage. The taking sacks things, there were some, but Jordan Love is a crazy person. Like, yeah. I think that Stroud's decision-making is better. And Stroud does have his moments where, like, what were you thinking? But it's usually, like, to me, it's more a brain fart than it is reckless. With Love, Love has Favre tendencies from that perspective.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you are a psychopath. Hey, that's cool, I guess, but, like,
it's fun to watch.
I don't know. Drake May, best case scenario, like, is going to be like this, too. I know this year, like, that best case scenario, that's what Drake May can be. I think it's like Jordan Love, where he's just doing stupid, crazy stuff, but he's fun. Defensive coordinator who faced Stroud did raise concerns over the quarterback's 86-yard game against the Packers. Yeah, that one was rough. He can carry the team. He's special in my eyes because he can throw from the pocket, off schedule, and he's been really good with the game on the line. The one thing that would sway me to go to a 3 was his performance at Green Bay. Wasn't crazy about the play calls at the end. Yeah, there were some weird play calls there. But if he had won that game, he would be a solid 2. He is a 2 to 3 to me. Damn, 3? 3? Oh, that's
3 is tough.
That's probably why he's down and he's tied.
Yeah.
In this ranking as he is with Jalen Hurts, which is also insane. Like Hurts would be ahead. I could understand him being tied with Goff, even though I think he's better than Goff.
Yeah.
I do not understand him being behind Herbert and Daniels. I just don't.
Hurts,
I like Daniels, but I don't know.
Yeah. Hurts, Daniels, and Stroud should be 6, 7, 8 in some order. And then, I mean, honestly, you can go Baker or Mayfield before you get to Herbert and Goff. I think that's how I would do it. And Purdy should be a little bit higher. But
Matt comments, I don't know, Paul. Jaden Daniels was pretty damn good. I think there's a better chance he'll be top 5 this season, being worse than 6th. I don't know. They brought in Laramie Tunsil, and they're like, yeah, this is going to change all their leadership issues. They brought in Deebo Samuel. Yeah, this is going to be the extra weapon. This is vintage Redskins offseason stuff. They had a very favorable schedule last year. They won a couple of games on acts of God. If there's any team that's taking a huge step back this season, I think it's the Commanders. Not because of Jaden Daniels. I think it's more so because they pushed all their chips in the middle of the table, and I don't think the guys that they brought in are the pieces that you want to bring in as the finishing touches. I'm talking about Tunsil and Deebo. That is not any disrespect or shade towards Jaden Daniels, but I think putting Jaden Daniels ahead of Stroud for me right now, I think that's much. But I get listen, I said I don't get it, but I do get it on the outside. On the inside, as someone who watches it every Sunday, I don't get it because I do think a lot of the accounts that you heard right there in that Sando piece, like they're saying all the right things. Yeah, like Stroud was kind of screwed. But at the same time, man, Daniels was a rookie last season. And I think there's a little bit too much belief in a year where they really did have a horseshoe up their ass.
yeah, they were like 85% on fourth downs.
Yeah.
Like that's just no one does that year
Won
after
that game
year.
on the stupid Hail Mary.
They won a game on a Hail Mary because Tyreek Stevenson was celebrating.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of breaks that went their way.
I agree.
I think it's a classic. We saw the downside with Stroud. We just haven't seen the downside with Daniels yet.
From the 747, doesn't matter. Sean, Super Bowl winning quarterback, talking about Matt Stafford there. Well, if he's alive, but
I'm saying he should be 5th, just not in the same. But I
what you said
understand.
made sense. Yeah, you just don't think he should be in that tier. But honestly, I would agree with him being ahead of all those guys
Yes.
in a separate tier.
Yes.
Totally get that. From the 409, I think CJ gets a pass. Tom Hanks said there's no crying in baseball. He didn't say the foosball. Yeah,
That
race
is-
debate. That's
that is
going
true.
on.
That is true.
The Texas
Correa
flagship.
didn't cry.
Texas flagship of all things is crushing CJ Stroud for something they didn't even see, that they're just reading like off of X. Should I just post fake reports going forward? Want me to do that? See if they pick up one of them?
Yeah.
I don't think they follow me anymore over there. Alas, earwax.